What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. We are here on the Aquarian Throne Room in Chaos 10, and just want to do something a little different today, and that is kind of play a little. One of the funnest part of every Dungeon Defenders game for me, personally, is just playing around with different defenses and trying to see what all works. So this new map has this huge, glorious, wide open area right here. And I want to play around a little bit today with some different defenses or different setups that I've used. I'm sure someone has probably already tested these out yet, but this is the first time for me, and that is we're going to focus on checking out the railguns for clearing this large center area. So on the outside lanes, we know what works. One thing that just does incredibly well is the Nimbus. We got a tree here as a backup wall, another tree here to dip into this lane, and then we've got a doggo here as our real wall there. And then this is going to handle the flyers and should handle the side lanes without any problems. That is going to leave us with what? We got 620 DU left, so 310 DU per side. That's actually quite a bit more than I was expecting to play with. But let's see what we can do here. This is one situation where I think I personally would love to have the DD1 camera angles for tower placements in when you're playing around with stuff just like this. So let's point railguns. We're actually going to be able to afford 4 railguns on each side, which seems crazy to me. But, you know, how is it going to perform? Now, we're going to point these directly towards the middle, and then we're going to give them full boosts and buffs. So, let's see. Let's get a buff beam in there, maybe. Might have to be do a little creative placement with the buff beam. Let's see if we can get... Alright, so that works, something like that. It's a little bit, very, very suspect, of course, but I think it will still work, and the railgun should still have line of sight. Okay, let's give it the pylons, and then we can just throw a Boostar in down like that, and we'll cover the whole stack. Now, let's see if we can manage to get 4 of them parked up here as well. We got 320 left, so we're actually going to have 20 DU left over. Maybe this side will be a little bit smoother. I'm sure there's a better way to get those up there. I just need to kind of play around with them a little bit. See, this side is no problem getting a smooth reflect down. And once again, we'll point those diagonally into the four-way intersection there. Now, we will probably have hex throwers that are going to be an issue here, getting any shots in. Wow, yeah, this side placed really clean compared to the other. All right, we actually have 80 left now, so we can go ahead and go with, we can get all the rest of the buffs down. So let's get our destructive pylon in. We'll just throw it, like, right there. And then we'll get our Boostar down. We can just slap it right there. And then 20 left over to do whatever with. I don't have a Frost Strike Aura set up right now, but I think a Frost Strike Aura smacked right in the middle of this for some center crowd control would probably be just awesome. So let's see. Workshop day. Let's see if it works. The issue, I think, is going to be the railguns, of course, have that target priority. They're going to go after the heaviest enemy in the lane. And with the lanes being kind of wide open like this, the mobs are a little spread out. So not all of the little guys, I don't think, are going to get slapped. Or, do I stand corrected? Because it seems like it's just mashing the crap out of everything right here. 8 railguns is quite a bit. That Sharkin looks like he's going to run through unscathed. He got blasted towards the back end of it. It looks like they are going to get overrun a little bit. My concern is goblins, the smaller enemies. Like, if there's a large number of orcs or Sharkin or tougher enemies that are distracting the railgun, then the goblins are just going to be able to walk past if the goblins are not close enough to those other enemies to get the AoE from the railgun. Forgot to show the shards and the mods. We'll go for that here right at the end of the wave. It looks like it's going to do pretty good. Now this Berserker came through unscathed. But let's see what happens back over here. It looks like it got wrecked still by the Nimbus. As soon as it got into Nimbus range, it was really a non-issue. It seems like it's running pretty smooth. I think this could make for a really fun shooting gallery map. Just loading stuff up in the middle to blast with. I really, really do. So what we'll do is we'll get one round of upgrades on the trees to get a little bit more damage out of thick vines. And then I actually got to check my tree setup too and make sure I've got the World Tree McBufferson in for the boss fight. Yeah, just there is some fodder making it through, but nothing has made it. Looks like something made it to this tree, as it did take a little tickle of damage there, but not a whole lot. And then, of course, as I slap a couple of upgrades in here, we're going to be getting more range out of the trees, but also more damage with thick vines. You know what? Let's just upgrade the trees there. We'll throw one on each, and then let's focus everything we can into the railguns here. Now, as far as the loadout, I'm going with the Werewolf Commander. We got Rebounding Strike, Automation, and Juggernaut. Accumulator, Hardened, and Defense Rate. On those railguns, I've got Defense Rate, Energy Overload, and Anti-Melee, with Destruction, Mass Destruction, and Power Transfer. And then on the trees, we've got Vicious, Thick Vines, and World Tree McBufferson. The World Tree McBufferson, of course, is just there for the boss fight. And then we got Anti-Chaos, Anti-Melee, and Defense Range. And then the Nimbus is going with good old faithful Anti-Melee, Anti-Chaos, Defense Rate, with Mass Destruction, Destruction, and Fleeting Nature. So let's see. Let's get let's just throw one upgrade into each of the trees and then jack up those railguns and see if we can get them to some just absurd levels. A little mana back there I missed, but that is okay. All right, let's see here. We probably got enough for what? Looks like we can do 3. Just hit 3 of them over here, and next wave we'll hit 3 on the other side. So, of course, with upgrades, the railgun's an expensive defense, so it gets a smaller amount of value for upgrades. But I think it's still going to just shred. Still going to absolutely shred. I also want to look at the placement of those railguns up there and check out their damage done. You know, to see if there's anything suspect, like with that railgun in the back. Let's see. 311 million. 564 million. It has done less damage. It's got a little bit of a line of sight issue. I think this side would just need to be placed a lot cleaner. A whole lot cleaner. But I do feel like this is going to absolutely melt the lane. The other thing I'm curious about is what if you had a bunch of DU left over, and when the boss fight came, you threw a bunch of long-range defenses right there. I haven't tried it at all, but are they going to attack the boss at all? I mean, anyone who has tried using any damaging defenses on the boss, let me know down in the comments below if you got any damage out of them, because that will open up kind of a whole lot for farming this boss, particularly for any players that don't have their DPS heroes really dialed in. That's going to open up a whole lot of possibility if that is an option. See, we got 70 left. I think the real test here will be, can they handle the boss wave? So let's go ahead and jump on forward to that boss wave, and I'll just even upgrade these railguns between now and the boss wave, and we'll see how this one turns out. All right, here we go, running in wave 5. Things are pretty smooth. I upgraded the railguns more than 50% of the way. See, a couple of them are not upgraded all the way. A couple of them are. Over here, what do we have? Same thing here. This side is actually upgraded a little bit more than that one, I believe. Or they're pretty even. They're pretty even all together. Now, I did swap in a Mystic to the deck, and of course we're going to throw down our tree and our obelisk in the boss area, but of course you see we've only got 20 DU left. So for that, I believe what I'm going to do is, right as we get down to only a few mobs left, I'm just going to sell off the Boostara here. Of this setup right here, the Boostara is probably the least impactful of all the buffs here. Destructive range pylon is huge, and then of course the buff beam, we're stacking up the crit damage, and then we're also getting diffusion there for a little bit more range. So getting rid of one of those Boostaras, I feel like is not going to be a huge problem. Actually, got a nice little build-up going over here. What's happening here? It's a little deceiving looking at the mini-map on this one. The whole objects are, it's the opposite. Instead of objects are closer than they appear, objects are not as close as they appear, it seems like. Just about there now. In fact, we can probably just get rid of one of those. Which side do we want to take? See, that one's got 2 of them fully upgraded. I think this side. We'll just take the Boostar there. Now we can throw down our tree and our obelisk as soon as the boss room opens up. Now, I know that a lot of people have found some of the cheeky placements inside where you can place defenses. I'm going to have to go in there and take a look. Or I think after a run is the time to look. Because then you've got time just to jump around and check all the surfaces. If you know where any of the little cheeky placements are inside of the boss room for throwing down buff defenses, by all means, let me know down in the comments below. I would appreciate it a ton. Let's see, Slakelion is going to be right here. Maybe? There he is. Alright, so I don't really feel like we need to do anything with the mana. We can just get right to setting up as soon as the wave ends here. Just going to throw down the tree and the obelisk. We're using Empowering Blasphemy, of course, on the obelisk. And then we've got that World Tree McBufferson on the tree. And both of those will help us out quite a bit. And come on and open up Mr. Bossman. The King. I need to get to farming on this map a little bit with my alt. I still don't have all the weapons yet. I'm curious to try out the Trident, as it just looks cool as hell. Without question. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our obelisk. Say right there. We can go ahead and put a tree. That is not a tree at all. Oh no, I forgot to put the tree in my deck. Alright, derps will happen. Derps will happen. We're going to have to burn them without a tree. We do have the obelisk buff, which is nice. Alright, we got to the halfway point. Big fail on putting my Dryad back in the deck. Oof, oof, oof. Kind of weird how the targeting on this one goes right up to where it wants to hit, no matter where you're aiming. Should be just about there, though. Alright, and then we'll save our lovely little pet for the final rotation. Guy's got a little bit of knockback on him there. And there we go. The king is down. So, I mean, I don't know if I would think I would call that like a best build type thing, but it's certainly fun to play around with. And, yeah, definitely got the job done. So, Railguns to clear this big, massive center area. Let's check it out and see which one of the weapons we got here on this one. Like I said, I need to get to grinding on this one with my alt and double dip on the weapon caches and get all those weapons collected up. But let's see what we got this time. I blinked. Is that the tome? Yeah, we got the coral tome. Little hero health roll on it with Rogue Wave. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching. If you're gonna play and experiment on any map, I think this map is just a super prime candidate for it, as crazy big wide open area here with just lots of things to do. Another important thing to note there is I didn't take any shots from hex throwers up there. I was worried about hex throwers, and it appears that that is outside of their aggro range. Certainly they've got the range to hit them, but they didn't, so they chose not to. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you all soon. Take it easy.